my dear YouTube subscribers. The topic of today is the inflection point, right? The Lyft and Uber inflection point. What if two curves collide and the business starts growing, taking off, or the business starts dipping, it goes down? So what I say, if you have happy drivers and happy riders joining the company, downloading the app, making the company more money, taking more trips, right? The business is booming, the business is going, right? Unhappy drivers, unhappy riders, deactivating the Lyft, switching companies. Obviously, they have reached their inflection point, right? And if you have not noticed, just pre-IPO, Uber and Lyft are both testing our inflection points like never. Let me just run a scenario by you, right? By slashing the rates 20, 30%, right? Overnight, testing that point. Have we gone low enough? Are drivers bailing out? How much unhappiness is there? Can we perhaps go even further down with our rates? Right? Because the drivers seem to still be hanging there. They're still driving, right? They may be striking here and there, but have we truly, as Uber and Lyft, reached our inflection point, right? Have we gone beyond that point where the drivers or riders are so unhappy, they're bailing out? And they have all the numbers, they have all the statistics, they see the app signups, they see the declines, and they monitor that. They're looking at that threshold. And I'm sure you would agree that to our inflection point, right? Going further than that, they would inflict a lot of harm upon themselves, upon the company. The same goes with the rider, right? For example, aside, the hottest topic right now is security and safety, right? Are we doing enough on the safety side, on the security side, as Lyft or Uber, to appease, to make our riders, our passengers happy? Have we gone far enough? So they got to bring out the bells and whistles and explain, hey, this is what we're doing with Lyft, right? We have this like zero tolerance thing now. We're going to be running constant criminal background checks on our drivers. Hopefully we keep you happy at that inflection point with their passenger rider base. They got to do a lot of things to keep them happy. For example, I will guarantee you that passengers and riders have been crying and moaning about surges, right? So what does Uber and Lyft then do? They go out and start testing and testing new ways, you know, with the surge, right? Or with the destination filter, and then in return, test our inflection point. At what point do we become too unhappy about the surge issue, too unhappy about this destination filter, that we may bail, or that we may go to the other company, or that we may move to an entirely new job, like Amazon deliveries, right? So they are constantly, ladies and gentlemen, testing that graph, testing both sides. And as you can see, they come under so much pressure with the surge and the destination that they may even to a certain point have to bring these drivers, right? Drivers were pounding them in the media, striking. So this strategy of ours works. You show up, you don't shut up, right? And you speak your mind, right? You share in this channel. Hi, Jerry. Hi, Manny. LeBron James. Let's go Lakers. Why are drivers unhappy? The drivers are unhappy. I wish it was the real LeBron James in the house. It would be wonderful to have him here. I'm a huge fan of his. In fact, one of my off-road vehicles, I painted in honor of LeBron. I made it purple, yellow, the Lakers colors with his number up front. And I'm going to be taking it out into the sand dunes soon. So there's a lot of die-hard LeBron, love LeBron. And let me tell you, whether it's the real LeBron or the fake LeBron, why are drivers so unhappy? It's because of the constant mistreatment, Uber and Lyft, testing, conducting these tests like as if we were little lab mice or guinea pigs, right? And testing our threshold, right? When do they bail? When do they leave the company, right? One thing we rely on, LeBron here, is that money is on the table and that we can feed our families, put our kids through school. But when they play this up on roller coaster with us, with our emotions, and cozy up too much to the passengers, the drivers feel the pain. And as we got the media and we went in front of the cameras and we voiced ourselves, right? So a guy like LeBron, who has the means, the power, who is a person I idolize because of what he does for children, for what he does for his community, great father, great parent, right? You know, he could easily rally and get a couple of big investors, and hopefully we could sit down with a couple of stars and start a whole new company, right? A whole new rideshare. Thank you for saying that. So the channel, or the channels that you have out there, and we have a couple of good YouTube influencers, you know, let's say their frustrations, their happiness or unhappiness in these channels. And believe me, Uber and Lyft take note, right? For example, to make the riders happy, the passengers happy, that are perhaps thinking, wow, should I ever do rideshare again? Should I maybe take a taxi? So right now, the topic of the day, the topic of the week, the topic of the month is security and safety. And it should be. Like I said in my last few videos, this is where the money needs to be spent. This is where the brainstorming sessions have to take place. This is where they have to tighten up and you know, maybe being raped or being assaulted, or even like the poor lady in South Carolina, Samantha, who lost her life. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen to any person, to any family because of rideshare. So the spotlight is on Uber and Lyft right now. Keep those drivers and riders happy. Find a medium where both sides sort of can agree, right, that there's a balance, but you can't create this. And I truly feel like this is happening right now. Too many privileges up here for riders and passengers, and too many negatives for the drivers. So that's why we're being vocal. That's why we're speaking up. Kevin James, these companies view replaceable commodities. Yes, absolutely they do, right? But if you have such a high burn rate of drivers coming in, trying it out, leaving, right, you're burning up so much cash because you have to recruit constantly on their outgoing drivers, right? You know, college students just making your first money, get a car, try out this job, right? Just bring them in, right? Bring them in. But you know how much money you are bleeding and burning through and hemorrhaging in this type of scenario, right? Versus implementing incentives for drivers, keeping them happy, retaining the driver, right? So that the business grows. You have happy drivers, happy riders by taking care of your drivers. No, instead, what they're doing is like how far can we go? How far can we go in this graph where the business starts declining, where the drivers and riders start becoming unhappy? So that's going on right now, testing us. They're testing our threshold, right? So thank you to all for jumping in here. The rideshare hacker, Kevin James, yes, I agree with drivers are replaceable commodities. I agree with that as well, right? But it's not a successful formula. For the IPO, right? The $1 billion in losses next year, right? What's the next quarter going to look like? So if you don't address this and find a happy medium and grow the company, your drivers will leave and you will be constant. I'm going to have a lot of videos today, a lot of live sessions. I have a lot of good topics to cover, especially around the topic of safety and security. Sadly, it takes a tragedy. Sadly, it takes a disaster. For example, like yesterday, the Notre Dame, the church burning down. That's a national disaster, like for a tragedy for France, right? But what it's going to send a message worldwide is like, hey, all of these that are old, what are we going to do? Are we going to try and look at fire prevention or security a little bit more tighter on this heritage, right? So people only wake up when there's a tragedy. a loss, like when Samantha died. Now these companies are waking up to try and protect their historic symbols, like the Notre Dame, when something tragic happens. That's sad. Sadly, we always need a tragedy or a massive disaster to happen, right? Like a tsunami. Okay, suddenly let's work on technology for tsunamis that'll forewarn us that a tsunami is coming. Well, why did tsunami have to happen and wipe out 300,000 people, right? So people generally will save, be stingy, not spend money, and boom, the disaster happens, the tragedy happens. And then they wake up and smell the coffee, right? So interesting topic, a little deep today. But guys, if you have any questions about Uber and Lyft, reach out to me. My details are beneath the video. If you have any questions about this specific topic, please do not hesitate. Reach out to me, text me, email me. You know, we're bringing out topics for discussion so that people can leave. This here, my friend, Rideshare Hacker. Hi, how are you, my friend? This here is producing ways forward, solution orientated, right? This is what my channel is about. This is what my subscribers are about. They're constantly addressing problems and finding solutions, and I love it. And I have flushed out the very goals that I don't want any, but I got rid of them, and we're keeping it real and positive, right? And that's the main thing here, is that we bring ideas to these companies, right? That we stay engaged, that we show that we're concerned. Both sides, drivers and passengers. This is not just looking at this business from one side only. Have to be able to work with both sides to make money and keep this company going, make it profitable at some day, right? If you go 2 videos back, I made a live feed on what I think to bring those massive losses down, starting with corporate greed, cutting the salaries, right? And there's a 10-point checklist that I go through. But Deanna, how are you? I got your messages, thanks. If I'm not getting back to people immediately, text or email, that might be a very busy day, but I always get back. I always email, I always text. So see me, so far out of 400 rides, only one rider checked my license plate before getting in. You know, good point, right? So they're passing laws that they want QR codes on the windows, right? They want license plates in the front. Lyft announced that they are going to have constant, non-stop, daily criminal background checks. The moment something shows up on a driver's criminal record, flag deactivated, zero tolerance, right? But to that point that Simi brought up, yeah, do I see a lot of people walk out and check the number plate? And I can see, okay, they're checking the number plate, they're checking the phone. Obviously, they can see it's me, right? No, like very, very few people, you know, riders, passengers make that effort. That is just the plate. And does that dude there, that guy's face inside the car, match up with my app, right? Listen, if you're not, as a passenger, conducting those very, very basic checks, at fault. It's your duty, like this person said, to check up on the number plate. Uber and Lyft now will be discussing this in the next live video today. We're going to be really talking about security and safety again. There is so much pressure on this IPO that they have to keep their passenger base calm. Hey, we are doing things about it, right? And that's why we influencers and YouTubers are pushing videos on security, putting insane pressure on these companies to do something about this. This right now should be the #1 topic: safety and security. A woman and a person and a man should never be assaulted. A woman never should be raped, and no one should lose their lives over and to better the system. That's what the next live video is going to be about today. But I agree. Problem is, if you're so intoxicated and you're stumbling out of a bar in Hollywood at 2 a.m., 2:15 a.m. in the morning, like, hey, there's my car, there's somebody waving, it's going to be my car, I'm going to jump in, right? It is the duty of a friend. A friend takes care of a friend. Hey, Nicole, you can't ride. Let's have a couple too many images for you, right? Let me just check the number plate. Make sure that friends take care of friends. If your friend is too intoxicated, right? Or travel with likes to hammer on the driver, right? Always make it dramatic and dangerous, passengers and riders getting into cars, right? With evil means, with evil ideas. So both sides, a system has to be put in place that both sides are taken care of. Security measures and safety measures are implemented for both sides, right? RM Zayas 100% disagree with power lighting. Okay, I would like to see some form of lighting for Lyft and Uber in every car, like I said, where you have to confirm or where you can check your name or codes or digits have to be put in on the phone in order to qualify, or in order to have you two speak to each other, right? Maybe digitally, the driver and the passenger. Okay, yeah, that's my person. That's definitely my driver. You have to bring suggestions. You can't just say, oh, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. For every negative you listing, you got to name a positive. Diana called Uber support this morning. They're still doing technical updates. They're always doing updates. Mike C, unfortunately, Uber execs only care about the IPO at this point, so they can cash out. Safety is a non-issue. No, safety is a big issue, right? It's just that we're putting the spotlight on them because, the one thing is that any executive who's about to cash out wants to cash out max. They don't want the media and everything to push their share price down. Look at what Lyft is. Look what's happened to Lyft. They're addressing it and putting positive media spin on this topic, right? Because they want to make sure come IPO time, they're cashing out or their share price is at its highest. Many of these people can't just sell right away. Some people can maybe sell in 3 or 6 months. There's certain regulations and limitations as when you can sell. Maybe a lot of these execs are just going to wait for the day and then bail out and leave and move on. For drivers who've done trips, they're not enough. This $100, $500 is not enough, right? It's not much of a reward. But there'd be no rewards for drivers who have brought drivers, right? There's a handful of YouTubers that have helped build this company, brought in thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of drivers. I haven't seen any rewards for those people. So, I'm going to bring it up with them and go, hey, we helped you build your company. We got all these jobs. Take care of them. Triple Beam Dream class is in session. Go back to your class. Don't miss it. More important, education is knowledge is power. Go to your class. Class is in session. And my friends, brief discussion on the inflection point. At what point, at what threshold do these riders and drivers become too unhappy that they bail out, they leave the app, right? So they're constantly testing those thresholds, playing around with the surge, with the destination filters, with the price cuts, with the slashing of the rates to see, okay, where do we have to stop? Because now at this point, we're doing damage. We need to stop, right? So as you can see, they're starting to implement things back in again. They took them away, didn't quite work for them, huge uproar, liking, okay, we got to put this back in there, right? So they were testing our threshold. My friends, I wish you a great day. A lot of videos going to be coming out today. So you'll see, you'll probably get a reminder as the topic drops, but expect at least 3 or 4 good videos today. Drive safe.